I can see the dashboard and the seats. It's funny. Despite the chaos on the outside, it seems like time has stood still inside the car. A bunch of shacks, trying valiantly to stay standing in a sea of mud and trash. I can't imagine how it must be to live in one of them. Can I ask you a few questions?
I'll answer anything.
Well, I'll be going on my way. Good luck to you, pal.
Just be sure.
No. With my foot in this condition, I wouldn't get very far. I think it would be better to go back inside the trailer and try to take... It's no use. It won't open. I heard... Impossible. It's locked. I'm afraid my host forgot to unlock it before he left. Well, look at that. When I pulled back the sheet, part of it got torn on the spring sticking out of the bed frame. I hope Rod doesn't notice. The bed frame under the mattress is so battered that one of the springs is turned into a very sharp protruding object. It's an unframed snapshot, stuck directly on the wall of the room. 2 adults and a child smiling at the camera in what looks like an enormous yard. One of them is Rod, my host. A depressing sight. This is the There's a very worn old notebook hidden under the lid. The cover is practically falling off the spiral binding. It looks like someone stashed it here some time ago, and then forgot about it. I'd only end up scratching or... It's a bit dented. It was used to cover a very large roasting pan. In fact, it's an old accounting ledger that still has a few blank pages left in it. From what's written in here, it looks like someone was using it as a diary before ripping out almost all its pages and leaving it inside the oven in the trailer. I'm not going to snuff out this oil lamp. This spring sticking out of the bed frame is as sharp as a knife. Better not touch it. If I want to open up the closet, I don't see anything here that could be covered. The oil lamp is the only... Better not fool with... Use this here? How? This individual seems a little unhinged, and judging from his... Can I ask you a few...
I'll answer.
Well, I'll be going on my...
Just be...
Let's see. I could swear that the lid is just the right size for this drum. Perfect.
Damn it! What's going on? This damn shithole is going to be the end of us.
I'll have to do this quickly, before this man stops coughing.
Can't even
Let's see
breathe
what
in
we
this
have here.
hellhole anymore.
Ugh. I don't see anything but rotten food, tattered clothes, and trash. Wait a minute. It seems like there's also a small billfold with a bunch of credit
Can't
cards.
even breathe in this hellhole anymore.
What the hell is this guy doing with so much plastic money? Someone improvised it now that I've covered the top.
Person can't even breathe in this hellhole anymore.
I have no intention. There's nothing else. These are the charred and misshapen remains of a bank card. I doubt it can be used in this condition, assuming there's anyone capable of finding. Let's see if I can do this. Good. The mechanism gave way on the first try, but the card is trashed. For my sake, I hope that guy outside never finds out about this. Okay, let's see how well this protruding bed spring can cut. Not just yet. I'm grateful to Rod for his hospitality. It won't take more than a few hours for the wound on my foot to turn. It's a good idea, but these bandages are still no use to me. If I use them like this, the wound in my foot would end up getting infected anyway. I'm not going to waste the whiskey on this. That would only make a puddle in the closet, and those shoes wouldn't be much... I'll use a little of what's in the bottle to soak the bandages. Here goes. I'll use the bandages on my foot. I hope the alcohol is enough to keep it from getting infected. Let's pray this improvised remedy doesn't lead to a delightful case of gangrene.
What bastard put a lid on the drum? You tried to suffocate me, you bunch of assholes!
I think that guy out there just discovered the reason for a sudden coughing fit.
Some coward in this shithole wanted to suffocate me! Me! Who was it? Who was it? Come back here so I can give you back your lid, you son of a bitch!
Did you hear that noise, Rod? What's going on out there?
I don't know. I'll go have a look. I think it's that poor drunk who's always hanging around the trailer. He's kicking up a fuss again. It's a good thing poor Colin can't hear his insults.
Don't ever say anything like that again, Rod.
I'm sorry, honey. I wasn't thinking. What are you doing here? Get out of here! You've no business being in this room!
Rod, I'm sorry. But what's going on?
Get out of here, Michael! You didn't see anything, understood? Out! Out! Excuse my outburst, Michael. I shouldn't have behaved that way. It's not like me. But this new world brings out the worst in all of us. It's just that I can't stand to see Colin suffer this way. So for your own good, please, stay away from this room.
Away? Why?
It's no use trying to hide it. You're bound to find out sooner or later. Colin is very sick, and the authorities claim his illness is highly contagious.
Highly contagious? Is he one of the dissolved?
Michael! I won't let anyone use that word in my house! Yes, Colin caught that damn disease.
And what exactly does the disease consist of?
I don't know, Michael. No one really does. The only news is what the army brings us. They say the disease is highly contagious, and it's our duty to turn over all victims to the cleanup brigades. But no one has ever come back after being carried off in one of those ambulances. No one. So we can't let them take Colin, do you understand?
Yes, of course I understand.
They say that all the victims are condemned, that there's no salvation for anyone, that at the end of their suffering and their trances lies certain death. I think that even the army is afraid of the victims. Really strange things happen around them, Michael. Things you wouldn't believe.
But how did Colin get infected?
We don't know. No one knows how the disease is spread. The only thing we know is that the disease appeared after the catastrophe, and that it's spreading like wildfire.
So the Great Wave brought the dissolved with it?
Yes, but don't use that word again. Not in this house, anyway. It's so cruel and disrespectful. In effect, that's the only thing we know for sure about all this insanity. The Great Wave took everything from us and left us with this epidemic.
What things happen around people infected with the disease?
Strange things with no possible explanation. In their trances, they go places, Michael. They bring back information. They know things. They talk to people who are no longer with us. And we've been living like this for weeks. The things that are happening around Colin are getting more and more confusing and hard to bear.
Talking to the dead? Jesus. This man's nerves are shot from the exhaustion and stress. What's happening to Colin is terrible. If only there was something I could do.
Well, Michael, you can help us. I'm convinced that our finding you was no coincidence. You've got to help us.
But you said yourself that all the victims are condemned. What can I do?
No, all is not lost. In the camp, there are rumors of a cure. It seems that in the city, on the other side of the fence, the victims have access to a drug. But we can't get it here. And my contacts out there, well, let's just say they can't do anything to help.
Getting involved looks dangerous. I saw that shooting out there. There's also the possibility of infection.
Infection? Are you afraid for your life, Michael? Without our help, you'd be dead right now. Dead. Don't forget that. What's more, I could help you in return. I could help you get back what you lost, don't you see?
Give me back what I lost? But you hardly know me, Rod.
I know the essential part, Michael. I know that you're a blankhead.
Blankhead? What the devil does that mean?
A blankhead is a person with no memories. who can't remember anything. It seems that the Great Wave had an enormous neurological impact on certain people, Michael. You're not the only one, or even the worst case. There are people who even forgot how to talk and how to walk after the explosion. Some ended up dying of starvation. They forgot what food looked like, how to chew it, even that eating was a necessity. You can consider yourself lucky. You still remember how to keep yourself alive. And that's the important thing. The natural recovery process is slow. It can take months, if at all. Listen to me, Michael. A man without memories is just a shadow. Or even worse, he's nobody. I still have some contacts out there. I was an important man in the municipal government. I could trace your name, your data in public records, your fingerprints. I could restore your whole life in the blink of an eye. But please, help us.
So there's a drug that can cure them?
Yes, but they say that producing it takes a long time and is very expensive. And so it's reserved for city dwellers who can afford to pay for it. Get us that drug, Michael. I beg of you, please. Colin's time is running out.
I'm grateful for your help, Rod, and for everything you people have done for me. But...
Listen to me, Michael. We know that it's possible that our son is condemned to die. In fact, my wife and I have everything prepared for when he leaves us. Our child is the only thing that keeps us holding on in the new world. Nothing would have any meaning for us without him. So if there is even the slightest chance of saving him, we are prepared to do whatever it takes. Please, Michael, help us. For God's sake, listen to him. He's just a child.
Rod, come in here, quickly!
Bring us that cure, and we'll help you get your life back. Colin is our only hope in this new world. Help us save our future, and I'll give you back your past. I promise you. Goodbye, Michael.
No, Rod, wait! Bring a drug? Is he out of his mind? That man wants me to put his son's life in my hands? I can barely remember who I am. And I probably wouldn't last more than a few hours out there. But Rod was right. A man without a past is nothing more than his shadow. He offered to help me get my life back, my memories. So if I want answers, I have only one possible course of action: to get that drug. Wait a minute. Before leaving, I should write down everything important I find out in this notebook. It might come in handy if, as Rod says, I'm one of the blankheads the Great Wave left in its wake. Nothing but leaky roofs and cardboard. Good God. Can I ask you a few questions?
I'll answer.
Well,
Just be...
a quick glance at these tents is enough to make you realize how forsaken these poor people are, confined against their will inside the camp.
Hello, Mr. Sleepyhead.
Excuse me? What did you call me?
You're Mr. Sleepyhead. I saw you sleeping in Colin's trailer. I'm so glad you're awake now.
I wasn't asleep. I was sick for a long time in that trailer.
No, you weren't sick. You were sleeping. Like a big brown bear, Sir Sleepyhead. Sometimes I used to watch you sleeping in Rod's house, and you would grunt in your sleep like a bear. A great big lazy bear, Mr. Sleepyhead. But I'm glad you're awake now. I like your voice. You sound like a knight in a fairy tale.
So, do you know Rod and Colin too?
Of course. I go over to their house a lot. Well, when they let me out of the van, that is. Rod and his wife have been very nice to me. Sometimes they let me play with Colin. We're very good friends. Are you a friend of Rod's and Colin's too, Mr. Sleepyhead?
Yes, I'm friends with them too. I should be going now.
Do you want me to tell you a secret, Mr. Sleepyhead?
Of course.
I have your old clothes. The ones you were wearing when Rod and his wife found you. I have them in the van. They were going to throw them away, but they gave them to me to wrap my baby in. He'll be cold now that winter's coming.
Your baby? You have a baby, Rose?
Yes, I have a baby, but he's not with me right now. He got lost. Have you seen him? Do you know where he is? I have another secret to tell you, Mr. Sleepyhead.
Back in the van, Rose, now. Move your ass. Get in there.
Another secret? Just a minute. Wait!
Get in that van, Rose.
It's a very important secret, Mr. Sleepyhead. Something about you. Something about before the Great Wave. But first I have to find my baby. Have you seen him?
Come on, Rose, you heard me. You don't want to get us mad now, do you?
I have to go. Goodbye, Mr. Sleepyhead.
Poor girl. She's obviously mentally ill. She's just a little girl in a grown-up's body.
And you? If you want to go in there with her, you gotta pay like everybody else.
Hey, you guys.
You talking to us?
Let me into the van. I just want to talk to Rose for a few minutes.
Of course, it's none of our business what you want to do with her. But if you go into the van, you gotta pay the price.
Got any money on you?
No, I don't have any on me.
Then come back when you do and quit bothering us. We have a very busy schedule, you know?
The girl said something about a secret involving me. Something from before the Great Wave. It seemed important. But what is it? Maybe it was a product of her madness. But I need to talk to her inside that van to get some answers. I'll come back with the money.
Now that sounds much better. I see that we're starting to speak the same language.
That poor girl's not right in the head. She acts like a little girl. How can you people be so unscrupulous?
Rose is an adult. She's earning a living. Like we're all trying to in this camp.
Mind your own business, pal.
You're abusing a poor, disturbed girl.
Us? Taking advantage of Rose? Us? You want to insult us?
We're giving her room and board. She's got nothing to complain about. But she's got to work. That's the only thing we ask of her in return. That's the way things work now.
Bring us the money, then you can get in the van with her. Hey, do us a favor and spare us all that sanctimonious crap from the old world, pal. Don't waste our time.
Cars, machinery, steel, cement, even the skeleton of an old construction crane. This place is a veritable cemetery of the industrial age.
What exactly do you think you're doing?
Hey, pal, touch that generator and you're a dead man. My partner and I don't kid around when it comes to defending what's ours. That clear?
Extremely. I was just curious and wanted to see this relic up close. You don't have to get nervous. This noisy electric generator seems very old and decrepit, but it works. An enormous rusty tank designed to collect rainwater. Everything indicates that the Great Wave wiped out at least on this side of the fence. Hello.
Hello, son. Would you like to get a little closer to the fire?
Thanks, mister. This is a rather isolated part of the camp. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm waiting. That's all. Just waiting.
So tell me, is there any way to get out of the camp?
I'm sorry, son. The only way to get out of this camp is to know someone important who can pull strings for you. Or to become a camp mole. Those traitorous scumbags have gate passes.
I see.
I'm not surprised you want to get out of this shithole. You've no doubt got something to do or someone to find out there. Well, they say things are better in the city. That there's order and that things are starting to function again. But who knows? Well, at least they have Reverend Blake and the consolation of Suicide Park.
Who's Reverend Blake?
He's a preacher who sometimes comes from the city to bring us a little comfort. Now, some people make jokes about him, but many of us believe that he's a prophet. You should hear him speak sometime. His words etch themselves deeply into your soul. That's why he has so many followers inside and outside the camp.
Suicide Park? What's that?
Nah, just a song that drifts into the refugee camp from the other side of the fence now and then. And the first dark stars come out to hang from the sky. We could sit and count them together, you and I, when the sun departs from Suicide Park. I'm sure you still have some hopes, some dreams. I'm afraid you're just too young to understand it.
And what was the extent of the Great Wave's impact? How are things beyond the city?
Truth is, I couldn't tell you. In the first days, the chaos was so overwhelming that no one worried about anything beyond their own backyard. We victims were disoriented, cut off from the world. Then I came into the camp and news from far-off places doesn't reach this prison. I'm afraid you'd have to leave here to get the answer to that question.
You're waiting. And what is it you're waiting for exactly?
Nothing in particular. The usual. For the fire to go out, for sunrise, for it to get cold again. I'm waiting for something to change, or for everything to stay as it is. I'm just waiting. You're too young to understand.
It's starting to get cold. Where's your tent? Or your trailer?
Yes, I had a tent once. They issued me one when I decided to enter the refugee camp after the Great Wave. The trailer was out of the question. They went to the families with the best contacts. You know how it is. Even in purgatory, some people are more equal than others.
You say that you decided to enter the camp. Does that mean that people weren't forced to come here?
Oh, no. Of course not. Why would they have to force us? The catastrophe hit the city hard. Those of us who had lost our homes were invited to come here. In principle, it was temporary, just until the authorities got the situation under control and started rebuilding. We used to have food, water, and a place to sleep.
But now it's more like a prison camp than a refugee center. What happened?
I don't really know. I guess something went wrong. The new housing they promised us never got built. And in the end, the army seized control of the camp. The food ran out, and then the water supply. Nobody bothered to replace them. Seems like our lives didn't matter anymore.
I see.
In time, things in here started to get very ugly. There were riots, uprisings, and the army decided to close the gates of the camp without any notice. One day they decided that no one could enter or leave here. Well, actually, people still could. Enter, that is. Now, this is where anyone who gets in the way in the city ends up. Or anyone they don't know what to do with.
So, this has turned into something like a concentration camp.
That's right, son. That's exactly what it is. You know, it's funny. I remember when my father told us about the war in Europe, about all the persecution, deportations, those overcrowded cattle cars. That all sounded to us like an old movie, an old horror movie. And look at us now. I guess some things never change. They just stop being visible for long enough for us to forget about them.
And where's your tent now?
It was stolen from me a while back. They fetch a good price on the black market now.
Stolen? But how could anyone...
You seem to be new in the camp, am I right? These things happen nowadays. It's best to take things as they come. The reality of the new world is very simple, son. The soldiers and the moles do whatever they like on this side of the fence. And the hunter and his men run the black market and all the dirty rackets. I suggest you memorize all this.
The hunter? I've exchanged a few words with him, but I hardly know him. Yes. The man who protected me during all the shooting. He seems like someone with good connections and some answers. Could he know anything about the drug for treating the dissolved? Do you know where I can find him?
You can find him in those barracks at the back. That's his... well, let's say it's his logistics office. Now, the hunter is very dangerous. Watch your step around him and his men. I happened to meet his father when he was young. He was a violent, degenerate son of a bitch. A real asshole. And I'm afraid his son has followed in his footsteps.
Let's talk about something else. I should be going on my way. Have a pleasant wait, mister. Dented, dirty, and in pretty bad shape. In this corner of the camp, there are drums stored everywhere you look. Someone placed a bunch of those rusty drums up against the wall. Ugh. They smell like liquor and industrial oil. Oh, Jesus. The cocktail of odors is nauseating. Okay, here goes. It's impossible to budge these drums at all. I don't know what they contain, but whatever it is, it weighs a ton. Okay. It's impossible to budge. Dozens of stored drums stacked chaotically.
What are you having, pal?
Nope. I'm afraid I don't have any cash on me.
That's no problem here. We don't only accept cash, we also barter. We accept anything of value. That excludes checks, naturally.
What do you sell here?
Anything you can eat or drink. Anything that fits into a box or a bottle. For other types of goods, talk to the hunter directly. What do you need? Liquor, tobacco, food?
At the moment, I don't need anything like that, but I'll keep it in mind. Thank you. Interesting place. Are you the owner?
No, pal, don't get the wrong idea. I only work here. This belongs to the hunter, like every other business enterprise here inside the camp. He's the head honcho.
I see. I saw a bunch of barrels stacked up at the entrance to the building. Just out of curiosity, what's in them?
Nothing. Just some things that need to be stored. Take my advice, pal. Keep your nose out of the hunter's business if you want to keep it on your face.
Okay, it was just curiosity. The cheerful patrons of the bar. I suppose the gray substance one of them is sipping is liquor, but I can't tell what kind. I don't think he can either. Someone went to all the trouble of taking the hood off an old Corvette and dragging it in here, just to turn it into a tacky bar table. Hey, that's the guy I was talking to during the shooting by the cleanup brigades. What did he say his name was? The Hunter?
Mike, my friend, it's nice to see you again.
Hi.
Guys, this is my friend Mike. He's new around here. We met at one of the cleanup brigade's latest parties. Isn't that right, dude? Pull up a seat and have a drink. We like to be hospitable to newcomers.
Something tells me I shouldn't accept that drink. That it's not a good idea. Not anymore. No thanks. I don't drink.
Okay, Mike. Whatever you say. But I'm not accustomed to people turning down a drink. At least, not in my own establishment, in front of my men. So tell me, what brings you here?
Tell me, why do they call you the Hunter?
That's a good question, Mike. You know my real name is Hank, but no one calls me that anymore. Now I'm the Hunter, because I can find you what you want, when you want it. You know, it doesn't matter where it is, how fast it runs, or where it tries to hide. The new world gave me a new name and a new life.
A new life?
Yeah, a new life. It's hard to explain, dude. But I think in a way, you and I are similar, Mike. That's why I like you. Let me explain it to you. It was the Great Wave. The Great Wave that changed and purified everything. The old world was a messy, complicated, and unjust place. After the Great Wave, everything became crystal clear. When all the old laws disappeared, only one rule remained. You gotta do what you gotta do. It's that simple. And that's the universal law that puts each of us in our rightful place. Do you follow me?
You gotta do what you gotta do. Sounds like a handy way to justify anything and everything, even the indefensible. Yes, Hank, I follow you perfectly.
I knew it. I knew you'd get it straight off, Mike. But don't call me Hank. I told you, that guy died in the Great Wave.
A friend of mine is in a bad way. I need to know if there's a drug that can help the dissolved, and how to get it.
A friend of yours, huh? Friendship is important, Mike. The camp is a very tough place, and you have to be loyal to your people. I like your gesture. Do I know this person?
No, I don't think so.
I see. Well, look, dude, I've heard something about that cure, but I don't know if it's true or just a camp legend. Sometimes desperation leads to wishful thinking. You know how it is. But if that drug exists, I can think of only one place you'd be able to find it.
Where?
There's a small medical center on the outskirts of the city. It's more like a pharmaceutical warehouse, but it's heavily guarded. I'd bet my bottom dollar that's where they keep anything that valuable. Maybe you should take a look at that building. If you can find a way out of this hellhole, that is. And I can't help you with that. You know I like you, dude. Let me give you a piece of advice. Stay away from those untouchables. From the dissolved. They won't bring you anything but trouble.
What more can you tell me about the dissolved?
Only what the authorities say. And that's all I need to know. The disease is fatal. And they say you can catch it just by breathing next to one of those untouchables. That's why they have to get rid of them as soon as possible. Have you ever seen one of those poor suckers die, dude?
No, I haven't.
Well, you're lucky, Mike. I don't recommend it. It's a horrible spectacle. It goes something like this. After weeks of drifting in and out of their trances, something happens inside their bodies. Something fails all of a sudden. The pain makes them kick and scream like pigs in a slaughterhouse. Then their flesh begins to melt, to become liquid. Do you understand, Mike? That's why they gave it that name. They literally dissolve.
But that's terrible. Those poor people.
On the contrary, dude, those bastards spread the plague. It's them or us. Understand? Anyway, you know how it works. The cleanup brigades tend to be more than generous with responsible citizens who help them with their mission of tracking down the dissolved.
And can't you get hold of some of that drug for me?
I don't get mixed up in things like that, dude. The army has made it very clear. Helping or hiding the dissolved will be severely punished. Not even collaborators are free from reprisals. You saw what happened to that mole. Those pigs are ruthless about this.
What are you talking about, those pigs?
That's camp slang. The soldiers, the cleanup brigades. The inhabitants of this shithole call anyone with a rifle and a uniform a pig. They can blow your head off right on the spot with impunity.
I should be going now.
Fine, Mike. You're welcome anytime. Remember, dude, here we can get you whatever you need. No questions asked.